Stoicism is a school of Greek philosophy that's been copied by religions, other philosophies, and fix-yourself experts for over 4,000 years. The Stoics were philosophers, mostly Greek, who sought a practical path to happiness. Readers of early Stoics, like Epictetus, will find commonalities with Christianity and Buddhism, religions that were formed centuries later. The philosophy of Stoicism has several central tenets, but this one matters most for me, that things could always be worse. Now, I'm going to tell you why this attitude is critical in business, how it's helped me overcome the four fears, and why Stoic principles are the fastest growing trend among business founders. Most philosophers, especially the modern ones, fail to give actionable advice. They discuss reasons and norms and research, and they talk around a subject. So, for example, if you ask most modern philosophers, what should I be when I grow up? They might answer, well, it depends on your definition of I. Or, it depends on your definition of be. Or, it depends on your definition of grow up. Stoic philosophers would say, you should be a rock crusher. You should be a painter. You should be a philanthropist. If you ask a Stoic philosopher, what should I be when I grow up? They would have told you the answer. Stoic philosophy has risen in popularity recently, mostly as like a daily admonition to expect the worst and celebrate the best. And that's useful. But that's not the real value of Stoic philosophy. The real value is that its advice is directive. Do this one thing now. I built our mentorship practice and wrote all of my books with that principle in mind. Because early in my writing career, a reader of my blog pointed out that I often said, don't do this or this is wrong, without providing the right answer. I immediately realized that I'd been taking the easy path. Any idiot can take shots at a strategy, and that's what I'd been doing. But a great mentor can take that complex topic, teach it in an understandable way, and then have the courage to say, do exactly this. And that's not easy, because giving directives means accepting responsibility for the outcome. But it's the only thing that has value. Critics can get attention on Instagram. Authors fill entire books with arguments about one topic or another. The lower level politicians attack others' platforms. Speakers can deliver long summaries of research, and some of those things are even true, but none of them have value unless they can say, do exactly this. In a world overflowing with ideas, arguments, and noise, the principles of Stoic philosophy are clear. They're not opinion, they're directives. The value of do exactly this is so big that it's usually the difference between success and failure. Ryan Holiday wrote The Daily Stoic to provide clear daily directives for life. I wrote Founder, Farmer, Tinker, Thief to provide clear directives for business. And then I built the Two-Brain Roadmap to make business directives easy to understand and put them in a logical step-by-step plan. So here's how to use Stoicism in your life and in your business. Think of Stoicism as an operating system for your behaviors. Now, underneath all the business tactics and strategies, Stoicism can be the platform on which you form long-term visions, deal with failure, and stay level during the good times. My first Stoic quote is this: "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." That was Seneca. First, when making a key decision or facing a problem, consider the worst case scenario. For example, when a staff member leaves, it can cause a ton of stress. To overcome the stress, you have to pick it apart. What's so scary about the staff person leaving? Maybe you're really worried that they'll take all of your clients, or they'll criticize you in public. So you ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario here in advance? Will they really take all of your clients, or just half of them? What would happen if they did take half? Would those clients leave all at once, or would they trickle out over the next few months? Which clients would leave first? How would they tell you they're going to leave? Now put yourself in that frame as if it's really happening and really imagine those conversations. Then take action. What can you do today to keep those clients and prevent that from happening? Now, if a staff person left and started criticizing you in public, what would happen? Think about it. How would they do it? Would it be a post on Facebook? Comments to your colleagues in person? What would they say? What's the worst case effect it would have? Then decide, in the long run, are you better to acknowledge that this might happen and take no action? Are you better to respond? Can you write blog posts now explaining why you do things the way you do? In other words, can you eliminate their future criticism by reporting your flaws first? Here's another great Stoic quote. When you first rise in the morning, tell yourself, I will encounter busybodies, ingrates, egomaniacs, liars, the jealous, and cranks. They are all stricken with these afflictions because they don't know the difference between good and evil. That was Marcus Aurelius, a Roman Stoic. People act in their own self-interest. You do it, so do I. That means everyone is the central character in their own play. It also means that no one really pays that much attention to you. But we project our internal knowledge. We think everybody knows what we know. And we assume intent. We read negativity into a text when there really isn't any. And we self-center. We think everyone considers the effect of their actions on us. They don't. But it's natural to think this way. When you rise in the morning, you don't need to assume that everyone you encounter will be a jerk. But you need to realize that you will encounter jealousy, crankiness, and ingratitude. Accept it, and you'll handle it when it comes. One of my favorite philosophers is Mary, the chef at the workshop. She once told me, Chris, never forget that some of the people that we serve are assholes. Now, you might also consider the difference between a person and his actions. You're probably familiar with the commercial slogan, you're not you when you're hungry. Low blood sugar is a modifier of mood and attitude. So is fatigue and stress and exercise and distraction. You can like a person and still dislike their actions sometimes. A third quote. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? If you would not have a man flinch when the crisis comes, train him before it comes. That was also Seneca. It means prepare yourself for the worst even while you hope for the best. Train yourself to deal with emotional stress by practicing physical stress in the gym. Visualize your worst case scenario at every opportunity. Take one day out of them every month and fast. Wear the same clothes 3 days in a row. Place yourself in controlled situations of loss as a practice for when the real situation arrives. What would you do if you were fired today? What would you do if a new technology replaced yours next month? Immerse yourself in these scenarios. Our minds have an enormous potential to pretend, but the key isn't to stay in a state of constant pessimism, it's to solve problems before they happen. The real value of the Stoic mindset is the training opportunity. You can practice defeat and failure before they actually happen. Then when they do, you'll be ready, you'll have a plan. Considering the worst case scenario gives you the opportunity to do two things. First, to break the problem down into its component parts without the lens of emotion clouding things. This makes the situation solvable. And second, you can realize that even the worst case really isn't that bad. In our society, entrepreneurs go broke, but they don't starve to death. Reading the Stoics was life-changing for me. I went from a high-stress micromanager to a focused mentor who can zoom out from the day-to-day stuff and see the big picture. My favorite Stoic philosopher is Epictetus, and here's a good shortcut to understanding Stoic philosophy. Read Tom Wolfe's book, A Man in Full, to understand Stoic philosophy as it's wrapped up in this amazing story. And there's a link to buy that book below this video. Stoic philosophy is an amazing tool. It can help you overcome both the highs and lows and the whole roller coaster of entrepreneurship. But you need to use it as a tool instead of just learning about it and getting educated in it. Like everything in entrepreneurship, knowledge is interesting, but action is what makes a difference.